Welcome to Demon's Go Iruma-kun Anime Review episode number 12. This is reviewing the last 3 episodes that have aired so far for the series, which is episodes 42 to 44, Clara's House, Dream Date, and The One Who Rules Netherworld. Now, these episodes mostly cover almost the entirety of the End of Terminus arc, with the exception of about a couple chapters. They didn't cover chapters 91, 90, 91. These 2 chapters are not covered here. They did kind of start covering the very next of the series, which is, I believe it is the Special Tutor arc. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's as far as I got with it. So, basically 3 standalone episodes. The first 2 episodes are in fact episodes they set up in the previous, in the very last, in episode 41. So they set up these 2 episodes. 20, the final episode, which is technically the 45th episode series, this one mostly serves as a little bit of setup for season 3, because, we get season 3 coming. Don't know when yet, but we are getting season 3. Thank God for that. Now, in the case of... Oh, I do have to have a slight correction here. I've been continue reading the manga for this series, and Iruma does reunite with Sylvia, one of the 10 fingers. 6 fingers, excuse me. Yes. Yeah. This actually happened in the most recent arc of the series. Yes. Which is known as the Heartbreakers arc. Yes, that's why he reunites with her. And I should point out, though, there are several more characters introduced here afterwards. One thing we get used to, Karum's sister. Yep. That's who's introduced in the most recent arc. She's basically introduced prior to this, and then with the most recent arc, she becomes part of the school. She enrolls there with Saburo's younger sister, who he knows because they met before in the school festival arc. Well, actually, it was the Division Party arc. So at least 3 episodes. Now, at the end of one of the things they said last episode was that Clara invited Ozzy and Iruma to her house. Why not? It's out in the middle of nowhere, and they can't. And of course, they point out that they couldn't exactly go back to their own homes because of the press. So they hide out at Clara's house for a couple of days. So they arrive there, and of course, they go sing and dance, and of course, they all introduce themselves. Now, Clara's brother is not in this episode. Nope. They do mention he's actually at school, so it would be interesting, though, if Clara's brother, the oldest of all brothers, basically he's younger than she is, if in fact he had a chance to meet her. There's a joke by the 2 younger brothers. I mentioned, which one of the 2 is the boyfriend? And it's like, oh, it's the shiny one. No, is it that guy Iruma, the guy his sis keeps talking about? And of course, she covers his mouth. Because it has been very implied that Clara's got a thing for Iruma. Yeah. So, and of course, Clara's mom is very much a very good host. Welcome these 2 boys to her home. One of whom happens to be the adopted grandson of the chairman of the chair demon. Yep. And the other one happens to be the son of one of the 13 fiends, who Iruma has met before once, which would be interesting. A little more. They explore a little bit more of that in the final episode. So after playing for a while, they decided to do shopping. They go to the mall? No, they go to this area that has a bunch of food. And, of course, we have Ozzy where he picks up all food that look like really good food, and he tastes it, and it's really, really bad. It's terrible. That was actually put there just basically to tempt people, according to Clara. It's full thing of temptation. So, then, of course, they spend the night, and Clara, you probably think, does Clara at her own home put on, a nightie, or, let's say, sleeps her underwear or sleep with nothing on? No, she doesn't do that. She basically puts on regular pajamas. Yes, a teenager wears pajamas. So, and of course, just by sheer coincidence, Iruma and Ozzy have the same exact pajamas, and it further serves as twinsies. Now, I'm not sure Ozzy knows the whole purpose of Twinsies. It's basically two people who just dress exactly the same, except the colors of these two pajamas are complete. Iruma's is purple, where Ozzy's is obviously pink. Because his family is obsessed with pink because all their hair is pink. And of course, it goes all very tired. Of course, we have both Iruma and Ozzy just lie on Clara's lap. And they fall asleep on her lap and they spend the night there. Which is so hilarious. And then the episode ends with Omri's father showing up at the end of episode 42. Like, that's a very interesting cliffhanger. Though, basically, this is just say, Iruma, you can actually go home now. It's perfectly fine. I basically put a gag on the press so they can leave you alone. And, of course, he does ask about Omri, how she's doing. He's like, don't talk about my daughter right now. Which I thought was so funny because he keeps fantasizing that Omri and Iruma are a couple, but not yet per se. She's confirmed basically on the show at the end of the Suicune Training arc. She doesn't tell everybody this, but the viewers know she's massively in love with Iruma. Because not only because the women consider him cute, but because of because of his personality that they like too. And speaking of Omri, the very next episode is the dream date, where Iruma is invited by Omri to this basically known as Aqualand. Basically, it's this like water park / aquarium, and he of course wears civilian clothes, and he hears of Omri wearing a bikini. Yes, a bikini. You never see her take out the bottom portion of this thing. Nope. Despite the fact she actually is swimming in the water, she never takes the damn thing off. I'm like, really, Omri? I'm sure that if you want Iruma to fall in love with you, take off the bottom part, take off that little towel you wear around yourself, and let him see the bottom part of your bikini. Be like, wow, that's good. I'm sure it's red just like her top portion. Oh, and here's something I should point out, though. There has been recurring gags in the anime. Whenever they go to water parks, a lot of the time the women's swimsuits tend to basically break off, or they basically just get ripped, per se. This is one of those rare times it doesn't happen. Nope. Now, not the first anime I've seen where, not technically at a beach per se, but a place where they go to like a water park person. It's only like the third anime I've seen where they go to a water park. The only two I've seen that did this was they did this at the end of Mato Loveru, and actually in the final episode of the series, which actually adapted the series finale of the original manga. And this also happened in OVA for Fairy Tail. Yes. So twice this has happened before this one, so basically 3 times. And you're thinking, really? Only 3 anime to have water parks? Yes, seriously, only 3. Even I thought this was baffling at best, the fact we actually have water park episodes. I don't mind these. I've been to water parks, so they do like various things. Do like on a day, they go to walk through the aquarium. They try to hold hands. Doesn't go much anywhere. Of course, Ami really wants to hold Iruma's hands. Right? Does it? Probably could do it a little bit later. Then we have like this little romantic everything of like two of a couple basically we having this parfait and they feed each other. She wants it, but nope, there's a beast on it. Of course, Iruma, acting like a complete gentleman, just wipes a little cream off her hair. And they have the splashing the pool, which is so funny, where basically he's like splashing Omri, and then she tries to splash him back into a freaking tidal wave, which I thought was so funny. Yep. And then I think they go shopping, like right after that. Actually, was that shopping, which is after the Beast Parfait thing. They buys a bunch of stuff, and then they go to a fortune teller show, which is basically the fortune teller is a giant alligator. No, I'm not kidding about that. It's pretty much a giant alligator who has a psychic ability to determine couples. And it's determined by Iruma when he goes and he starts biting on his jacket. The reason why he's going after him, because his clothes wore off because he basically got soaked. So lucky enough, the Omri decided to be a good hero, go into Fantasy King mode and kick him really hard. And he ended up cutting herself. And now Iruma can tell basically that she's very tall and he's probably not strong enough to lift her up. So basically, he does a really ingenious thing when he notices that he got cut on her. So basically, he uses his weightlessness thing, basically allowing to basically reduce her weight just so he can carry her. And he does. He carries her off and presumably carries her to the first aid station to get that leg treated. And of course, he comments to her that he had a lot of fun at this park. And he was basically, you hear his thoughts when they were in the souvenir store. He was wondering if Omri was having fun in this thing. And Omri is like, man, it's like a dazzling success despite the fact she got injured. Now, I would not be surprised if basically Omri's father probably be like off screen between episodes. He must have been calling him, yelling at him for the fact his daughter got injured at a park, even though it kind of was her, well, not exactly her fault per se, but yeah, this was actually pretty good, this one. The last one is simply put, like, we have basically Iruma coming home. We see Sullivan and we see Appa wearing the hats that Iruma got in the last episode, which good on the anime, basically remembering that. Of course, we see him work on homework and wondering why the heck is he working on homework for? Well, it was thanks to a flashback that they had this massive big humongous feast, and it was determined by Sullivan that all three teams won. They had a lot of fun. And because it was a tie. So, Sullivan says, as a reward, Cargo gets to pay for the bill. And I'm sure it's probably going to be massive. It's probably going to bankrupt him for this. And he's like, okay, as punishment for that, I give you all double homework. And it was like, what? And you have Sullivan publicized as malicious, which I thought was so funny. And here you have Iruma just finish it up. And they say, hey, let's go shopping. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, let's go shopping. And you're probably thinking, what would two guys go shopping for? School supplies. Yeah, this is perfectly natural to do. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, perfectly natural to do. I mean, you have Sullivan basically be responsible guardian, just keep buying him stuff like buying books, buying school uniform, like, because they get updated uniforms for this particular thing, because of course, new term basically gets new uniforms. Yep. Yeah, so they get like new uniforms and like a bunch of other stuff, like even like a pet. And then we have basically Iruma overhearing conversation about why hasn't Sullivan become Demon King yet, because he's actually pretty powerful. And he does point out if he does, at where he's currently now, he basically declared the whole town Iruma Town. And my grandson Bun's like, and of course, everyone's like, no, don't do that. No, Grandpa. It's so funny. And then, of course, we see a flashback of young Sullivan. For some reason, we don't see his face. I'm like, okay, that's a missed opportunity for the anime. You show a young Sullivan, and you don't show him with freaking hair. No, he had to put this thing over his face and say, this is young Sullivan. And we've only seen the Demon King in the anime. He's a humongous dude. Like, my gosh. Like, the Kenny, I think his name is, the guy is the missing Demon King. He must be like 10 feet tall. Like, he's bigger than Sullivan. Sullivan looks like he's about 7 feet tall, maybe, because he's really big. Demon King's bigger than he is. Like, damn. He's freaking huge. Like, he's the entire size of half of us. He's basically bigger than a house. Like, damn. And, of course, they have, like, the 13 Fiends. They mention this here, but Iruma does not mention to Sullivan that he's actually met 2 of the Fiends. Yeah, he's met 2 of the 13 Fiends. Of course, they mention, oh, yeah, Grandfather's about 13 Fiends. Not really, no. He's part of the 3 Great Demons, per se, but not part of 13 Fiends. See, the Great Demons, which is basically Sullivan, Lady Lorelei, and... I'm trying to remember, what is the name of the other character? Who is... it's Lady Levy, excuse me, and Lord Bali. Yes, these 3 are the 3 great heroes, and they have 13 crowns. Mm-hmm. What's not all made their debut in these episodes, yeah. Like, I would say, Other ones we see here, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Roughly, I'd say about 8 of them per se. 8 out of frickin' 13. Where the heck they are, don't know. It is baffling the fact that none of these characters basically like bob hair very much in the anime, much less the manga. Yep. And of course, they all go home, or afterwards, as that brings the carriage up, all the stuff. They go home and they have Aaron basically this new, like, basically the same thing like outfits they had. There's like a little top on it, similar to basically the same type of top of a road the Black Bulls have in the Black Clover anime. And of course, you have Aaron and Claire have these big humongous backpacks because it's the first day of school. And they get there, and then we have this special announcement. That the announcement is, before you enter your second year, you have to all raise the rank 4. All of the Misfits. And according to everybody's like, what? Now, this is basically for graduation, but why now? Well, that's due to the very next arc of the series, Special Tutoring. Yep, that's the very next arc of the anime. Well, next arc of the manga anyways, but we'll probably see that for Season 2. Yep. In case you're wondering, the very next arc is only like 7 chapters. They did partially adapt Chapter 95, but it's going to be interesting, though, to see, like, so she has basically tutoring, and then you have the Long Hearts Festival arc, which is basically 38 chapters. Damn. Yeah, but these 3 episodes overall are really good. Thoroughly enjoy them. Is there anything really bad about these episodes? No, just really good. Okay, so yeah, that's episode review. I'm going to do one more episode for this anime review series, and it's going to go until whenever Season 3 comes. Which I've not heard a release date for that one yet. Nope, I haven't. I know Season 3 is coming. They're working on it, but they've not announced a release date for it. My guess is, and this is a really big hope, next year. Yep, but the very next video, I'll get my final thoughts on Season 1 and 2 and how much the anime pretty much covered from this manga. Which, by the way, currently has had 238 chapters, so I will talk about that in the next video, okay? Next video. Bye.